Alright guys, Black Templar here again. Moving on with our next part, and I do believe last time I said we were going to do the silver, so we're going to move right into that now. Just check the brush, make sure it's okay. Yeah. So last time, let me think. Last time we stopped on, I was talking about, oh balls, I was talking about how, I do believe I was talking about the cricks, and I got this edge wrong actually. I didn't think about that. We didn't do that right. Well, I didn't do that right, I suppose I can't blame you. So, get this to focus. This edge here and this edge here on this other side, the matching one, I left them black because I thought they'd be silver, but they're actually blue, so we'll have to go back and touch that up again. Now we're going to do all the silver. And the silver is really easy, especially on these models. It's super easy to get right too. So what we're going to need for this is a couple of things. Because this is going to require an amount of dry brushing. And dry brushing is a really easy technique. You've seen me do it before, but in case it's your first time watching this video, what you're going to need is a piece of napkin, or paper towel works best. I just got some napkin here, so I'm going to use this. A stiff, flat brush, something like this. Real stiff, real short bristled, need something like that. So what we're going to do is fold this napkin just here. Scoot this stuff out of the way. And get our silver. Now silver is used a lot on these models. Oh god, I'm gonna go. Oh god, I'm just kidding. So the silver on these models represents the engine and the mechanical parts. Like, god damn, this thing is fucking stuck. Oh, there we go. The engine and the mechanical parts. Like I said, it's really easy to do too, and it adds a great effect. So dry brush, grab it, dip in the paint, bounce it a couple times, add a little bit on there. Not a whole lot though. A little bit on there. Take it and swirl it around your cloth, whatever you've chosen to use for this. Make sure a lot of it's off, most of it in fact. And then come back to the model. We're going to start on, I'm going to kill this stupid autofocus because it doesn't work at all. There we are. I'm going to start on this leg here. Just going to real lightly come over the leg. And I might have taken off too much. I did. Go back to this, grab a little bit, and go back. That's much better. Do this underside as well. In fact, this is actually pretty easy without the camera, but it's proving to be a little bit harder with the camera. Alright, so anyways, we were saying about the Dragon Lord guy. Oh fuck, I got it on the blue. The Dragon Lord guy, who is I think he's an emperor, the Emperor of Cricks. I didn't actually look up the name. I meant to look up the name before I started this thing again, but I may have faux pas and not done that at all. He controls some necromancers who have the power to raise the dead. Now, they kidnap people during raids, they pick up dead bodies, they pick up their own soldiers' dead bodies, their own troops' dead bodies, and they can make new troops out of them. So you can tell why they're represented as the stereotypical bad guys in this scenario, in this game. And I probably didn't see anything of what I just did too, since the autofocus is off. I had to get super close on that. So, anywho, just go into the back and we actually try and get this straight. The ideal distance for me is about there, so I'll stay there. Start jumping it around. Absolutely all the mechanical parts. These pouches later we're going to go through with brown, but for now I'm just going to grab it. I'm just going to roll over them because I don't want to discriminate between them. I just want to get all of this done as fast as possible. Now, there we are. The inside of this leg. Anyways, so yeah, not too many people are allied with the Cricks. The Cricks don't play nicely with very many people, and as you can tell, they don't really have a reason to. So this part is a little bit tricky. I'm going to do these bolts here, but for that I need something different. I need to get the same brush we used, the base coat, because it's a little bit thinner. Roll that in the paper towel. And real lightly. Actually get really close for this. Okay. Really lightly. Go around that bolt. And hit the inside without touching the edges. And there we are. Here we go. Most of it at the top. Really careful not to get the inside of that line, because that line later on we're going to weather it to make it look more bolty. Didn't do so well, but that's okay. Got another one. Super close on this too. Roll over the outside first, and then real lightly just tap the inside, both sides, keeping clear of that line as best as I can. And putting it down real nicely. There we go. That one came out nice. Perfect almost. Anyways, so now we can come in with solid silver after I move this and turn this back. I'm gonna just turn this back on, and hopefully it does what I want it to for this part at least. So I got the most of it, majority of the dry brushing done. So now I'm just gonna come back in with pure silver and touch areas up, touch small areas up. Because in some places the dry brushing is a little bit sloppy, because my dry brushing is not the best. Sometimes a little bit subpar, but we manage. Of course, my straight lining is really good, so kind of makes up for that. There we are. Okay. And this autofocus is straight garbage. To keep turning it off and on for you to see everything. It's kind of silly for me to be doing this without you seeing. Okay. I would knock those two bolts there, but I know for sure I'm going to come back in here with blue and I'll mess that up, so. Just hitting everything mechanical, really. Hitting everything mechanical with the nice solid blue. With a nice solid silver, blue. A little bit late at night, so doing this after hours, as it were. Coming in on the top. Hope you can see. Yep, you can see perfect, actually. Hitting these sides. Like I said, we'll come back with them pouches and we'll do them freaking brown because they don't look nice silver at all. There we go. Other side. That's a really bright, nice color too. There we are. I had a lot of comments on the series too, by the way. Some folks are telling me, a couple of my friends are on A4, play War Machine with me, and most of them say they really like it, which is kind of nice because I was hoping, and I did actually get that, hoping a couple of people would learn some stuff from this whole series. And I am getting some people who are really enjoying it and learning from it, so I'm really happy about that. There we go, most of the silver is taken out on the back end. Now we're going to need to switch gears a little bit. Let's see if I can readjust how I'm sitting. I'm going to knock out this top. I think the top I did on this one is, yeah, okay, silver. I had to check my other model for reference. The Hunter. The Hunter, which is one of my favorite models. This is pretty much the Grenadier is based off the Hunter chassis, so they're pretty close to identical, if not almost the same. Oops, smack that line. Do the other side too. War Machine fluff though. I keep getting off track. This is a little bit hard. This is a little bit more detailed, so I tend to talk less when I'm doing the detail stuff. Fluff though. Okay, so Cygnar is the birthplace of War Machine technology. They were the ones who invented it. It was created to help support infantry, mainly help support Cygnar's riflemen. Cygnar are also, being the most technologically advanced race, they are also the race with the most firearms. Their basic trooper is it's called a long gunner. And they are the equivalent of pretty much an indoctrinated, I want to say kind of like a little bit more trained than a militia, but not as trained, not as well trained as like a trencher. A trencher is probably the equivalent of like the special forces in Cygnar. But Cygnar have the most firearms, like I said, and they have the most warjacks, and they have the most advanced warjacks. So these folks here know their stuff. Cador has the oldest warjacks besides Cygnar. Wouldn't say they're the most technologically advanced besides Cygnar, behind Cygnar, but they're definitely the beefiest and the oldest. Cador technology goes back maybe just a couple decades before Cygnar, and the older stuff that they used, that they still use to this day, is a little bit more unpredictable, as you can imagine. The cortex that is put in all these warjacks is almost like an artificial soul, as well as a brain. So Cador stuff tends to be angry, very angry. Angry and not too bright. It doesn't matter because it doesn't take really any skill to throw an axe at somebody's face. And that's really what they do. They're horrible at it too. They do really well. Checking out these pouches, and I'm kind of getting a little irritated. There's also a playable faction called the Retribution of Saya, or Sira, Scytha, something like that. And they are the Elvish representation in War Machine, and they are pretty mysterious. Not very many people know much about them. They're kind of like what's that called? I can't remember the damn term. Anyways, oh, pre-industrial age. There we go. Pre-industrial age Japan. Like they don't allow people in their borders. They kill people who come into their territory. They haven't been invaded for a couple dozen decades, so nobody knows too much about them, other than they're aggressive when people get in their territory, and that they are well trained and highly motivated what they do. So they don't have too much technology. They rely more on trained individuals and hit and run tactics. For fighting in a large scale, they're not very good. Haven't done that in a while. Other nations. Those are the playable factions. You got Cygnar, Protectorate, Cador, Retribution, Mercenaries. We can go into Mercenaries a little bit more. And then, of course, you have Krix. But, the other factions like Rule and Eilil, because there's a nation to the north of Cygnar in between Cador. It's called Eilil, and they're represented slightly in the Mercenaries as well, just like the Rule, or the Dwarves. Anywho, putting the silver on the smokestack, or the exhaust, or whatever you want to call it. Hope I didn't touch that. I think I did. It's okay though. Gonna patch it up real nicely. There we are. Good bit of silver done. Got the engine painted up silver. It looks kind of trashy right now, but once we weather it and stuff, it'll look much better. And weathering is a really important part of this hobby, because you're really going to want to emulate that look of being used and worn and not brand new. These obviously aren't going to be brand new all the time, straight out of the factory when they go to the battlefield. So you're going to want to make them look like they've been through the shit. And that's pretty much what weathering is. And make it look like it's done something. That dumb ball doesn't work out too well. Yeah. Covered it nicely. There we go. And you're probably wondering why I haven't put the arms on. Well, that's because to paint them separately is a lot easier, trust me. So you paint where you put one on, paint it up, put the other one on, paint it up after you paint the torso. So that's pretty much, let me get the focus back going on so it doesn't all ugly. Pretty much just some of the silvering right there. Pretty much all of the silvering, to be honest. So we'll come back in the next part and we'll do the gold. And the gold's a little bit more difficult. This is actually more of a bronze, actually. This is a pretty difficult color to use. This is the one color in this whole range of colors that I have that is my least favorite and the hardest to use. So my only complaint is with this one. But I'll see you guys next time where we start doing more details with our bronze color. Takes it easy. Thanks, guys, for watching. Herd derp.